Hi guys, hope you're having a good day. So, something a little bit different today. I would be talking about the performance of the 3080 Ti, but given as it's just a 3090 with less VRAM and ever so slightly less performance, I guess I've already done that. And for anyone who's interested, YouTube is full of, well, two types of review. Those that are critical of it, and those which are clearly being paid by Nvidia to say nice things about it. And, well, I kind of can't be bothered to do either of those because there's something that's actually interesting about this, and that is that this... what's the word I'm looking for? This apathy, I suppose, for this card is actually down to just one thing, and that is timing. If we go back to Jensen's Kitchen last year when the 3080 and 3090 were released, and instead of the 3090 they announced this exact card, exactly as it is, well, we would have been far more interested in this card. Bear with me, there's a bit more to it than that, you see. The problems with the 3090 when it was announced was the fact that it wasn't really a professional card, it wasn't any great leap above the RTX Titan, it had the same VRAM, it was just a new architecture. And for a gaming card, it had far too much VRAM and just really didn't make sense and was a price jump from the previous generation's 2080 Ti. However, had this 3080 Ti been announced, it would have been the same price as the 2080 Ti, so anyone who's critical of the price of these cards would have only been able to say that the 2080 Ti was overpriced, but people bought it, so, well, we don't really have a point. And there wouldn't have been any discussion about how good or bad it was for people that required a professional card with high amounts of VRAM, because, well, it isn't that. So, all we would have had is a 3080 Ti, which was slightly unimpressive in terms of how much faster it was than 3080, but it's fine, I guess. We would have been mostly okay with it. And then this week, they could have announced a 3090, which wouldn't have been particularly impressive from a gaming point of view, but if you needed a professional card that had more VRAM, well, it would be a 3080 Ti with more VRAM, and that would be good. Can't really say anything negative about that. I mean, sure, it doesn't actually have Titan drivers, but, well, is that actually an issue? I know someone who has a 3090 for the VRAM because they need it, but they didn't need the drivers, so it's a niche issue, if anything. And for gamers, well, it would still have some of the same flaws of its dies that could have been used for existing models, but instead of being a cut-down version and therefore really should just be used for existing models, it would actually be a new, high-end, even better version. And does anybody remember the fuss that was made about the 6900 XT Liquid Editions, where AMD had held back some dies that were slightly better than the others? No, I didn't think you did, and this would have been pretty much the same. So instead of the internet being split down a I've clearly been paid and say nice things about this card, and I haven't been paid to say nice things about this card, so I'm going to savage it, everybody would have just said sort of meh things about a high VRAM version of a 3080 Ti. Yeah, I think that probably would have been a bit of a win for Nvidia, and the only real reason as to why they didn't do it this way, or at least I think the only reason they didn't do it this way, is because Nvidia were just scared of what RDNA 2 was going to be able to achieve. Basically, they were worried that AMD were going to release a 6900 XT, and that 6900 XT would be able to compete with the 3080 Ti, or beat it, in fact. And depending on whose data you look at, and which way you squint, it kind of does, and it kind of doesn't. So maybe that would have been a thing to worry about, but as it turned out, with availability, which neither company has actually managed to achieve being the biggest problem this cycle, it didn't really matter, and even if AMD had managed to hold the performance crown, well, this week Nvidia would have released a 3090 which would have taken it back, or maybe they would have done it a couple of months ago, who knows. Anyway, the 3070 will be out in about a week, and I guess we'll have a look at that one perhaps in a bit more detail. But I kind of have a feeling that it's going to be much the same as this, in that who really cares? I mean, sure, if it's a card that you can buy, great, but much like the 3080 Ti, it's more expensive than had you bought that die for the existing models, non-Ti price. Yeah. And to think, Nvidia's marketing usually does such a good job of all of this, but never mind. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and have a good day.